Hey everyone, how are you? In this video, we are going to solve the Leetcode problem of the day, and the problem is total characters in a string after transformations part 1. The problem category is of medium level, but after watching this video, after understanding the problem and the solution approach, this is going to be very easy. The given input in the problem is a string s and an integer t. This t is representing the number of times we can do the transformations in the string s. We need to output the length of the string after t transformations. It means that we need to transform our string s t times, and then we need to return the length of the transformed string. What are the transformation rules? This is very important to understand, and the rules are very simple. The given string s is of lowercase English alphabets like A, B, C up to Z. And the transformation rule says that we need to replace the character A to character Y with character B to character Z. It means that you need to replace A with B, B with C, C with D, that is the next character. And this rule is applied for character A to character Y. You need to replace Y with Z. Alright. But in case of Z, you need to replace it with AB. Alright. So from here we can say that if the characters are A, B, C up to Y, the length is not going to change because you are going to replace one character with the next character. So we need to output the length, right? So the length is not going to change in case the characters are A to Y. But if the character is Z, then you need to replace it with AB, and here the length is going to change. So one character is replaced with two characters. So here the length is going to increase. So let us see some examples to understand the problem. The example number 1 is the given string s is A, B, C, Y, Y, and the number of times we need to do the transformation is t is equal to 2. The output in this case is 7. 7 means that after doing the transformations in the string s 2 times, the resulting transformed string is this one, which has total 7 characters, or the length is 7, and that is what we need to output. We need to output the length of the strings after t transformations. So the length of this string after 2 transformations is going to be 7. Let us see how. When you do the first transformation, that is t is equal to 1, the first transformation is A will become B, B will become C, C is going to become D, and then Y will become Z, and Y will become Z. So this is after first transformation. This A, B, C, Y, Y will become B, C, D, Z, Z. Okay. Now the next transformation, because we need to do the transformation 2 times. So in the second transformation, this B will become C, C will become D, D will become E, and Z will become AB. This Z will become AB. So now there are total 7 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the output is 7. Now this is very simple to understand, right? The problem is very straightforward. Let us see another example to understand this. In the example number 2, the given string s is AZBK. The given value of t is 1. It means that we need to do the transformation 1 times. Now after you do the transformation, this A will become B, Z will become A, B, right? B will become C, and K will become L. So this original string is of length 4. The output or the transformed string is of length 5. Because we have this one Z which is becoming AB, right? So the length is going to increase, and the output is 5 because the length of this is 5. Now there are various solution approach to this problem, okay? So let us try to understand different solution approach, and then we will understand the most optimized approach for this particular problem. So let us see the solution approach. We are taking the example number 1 to understand this. Now the thing is, there are various approach which are valid, but they are either complex to implement or they are inefficient. The first one is brute force. You can just brute force the solution, but this is going to be inefficient. You can just run a simple loop t times, because we need to do the transformation t times. So we need to run a loop t times, and in each loop we just need to run a loop over the string. So it's like saying that you need to do the transformation 2 times. So you will run a loop 2 times, and in each loop you will do the transformation in the string s. What you are going to do is you are just going to replace the characters in the string, and then you need to return the length of the final string. This is like saying that you run the loop 2 times, and then in each loop you replace this A with B, B with C, C with D, Y with Z, and Y with Z. This is after one loop. Then in the second loop, you will replace this B with C, C with D, D with E, Z with AB, and this should be Z, right? So you will replace this Z with AB. This is your final string, and you will say the length of this string is 7. Well, this is fine, but the problem is this is inefficient. The complexity of this is going to be O of t multiplied by length of your string, right? And if you say the length of the string is n, then the complexity is going to be O of t multiplied by n. But we will solve it in O of t plus n, right? Instead of t multiplied by n. So we are going to optimize this brute force solution. Let us see how. Let us see the second approach, which is good, which is fine, but this is a bit complex and it is a bit slow compared to the best approach which we will see. In this approach, what we are going to do, let us say this is your input. Then in this case, first of all, we are going to initially count the frequency of each characters we are having in our string. Now we know that there are total 26 characters, 26 lowercase English alphabets, right? So we have A, B, C up to Z, right? And total is 26. So we need to initially create an array of length 26, and in this array, each of the index is going to represent each character in the lowercase English letters. So this is like saying that if this is your array and the length is 26, then there are total 26 indexes, right? The indexes are going to be from 0, 1, 2 up to 25. So the 0 will represent A, 1 will represent B, 2 is going to represent C, and 25 will represent Z or Z, right? So first of all, we just need to count the frequency of our input. So we have 1A, 1B, 1C, and 2Y, right? So we will create the array initially, and the array will be 1, 1, 1, then 0, 0, 0, then it will be 2, comma 0. Now this one is at index 0, the next one is at index 1, the next is at index 2, which is A, B, and C, and then this 2 is representing the index number 24, which is Y, and then this 0 is representing the index number 25, which is Z. So you have this A, B, C, Y, Y, your initial input, okay? And then you will run a loop t times, that is 2 times in this particular input, because the value of t is 2. And now in this loop, what you are going to do is, you are going to create another array of length 26. And you can call this new array as new frequency. You can call this array as frequency, and you can call this new array as new frequency. Create it of length 26, and initially all the value is going to be 0. Then you will run a loop for 25 times. This is for characters A to Y. Because for characters A to Y, the transformation is simple. We just need to replace it with the next character, which is B to Z, right? We need to run a loop 25 times for A to Y, and then we need to add the frequency in index 1 to 25. Why 1 to 25? Because we need to increase the count of B to Z. Because A will increase the count for B, Y will increase the count for Z. Each character is going to increase the count for the next character, right? So if there are two number of A's, so you need to increase the count for B, and you are going to say, now you have two number of B's, right? So it means that you run a loop for 25 times for index 0 to index number 24, and for index 0 you will increase the count in index 1. For index 1 you will increase the count in index 2, that is you will increase the count of the characters in the next index, and you are going to do the increase in the new frequency array. You are not going to change the original frequency array for now, okay? Now you need to add the frequency in index 1 to 25, and then when you come out of this loop, the loop which will run 25 times, you will do the processing for character Z. For this, you will add the frequency of Z, that is how many times you have Z, you will add it in the index 0 and index 1, because every Z will be replaced with AB, right? So if you have two number of Z's, so now you have two number of A and two number of B, because this Z will become AB, the second Z will become AB, so you have two number of A and two number of B. So you are going to say, add the frequency of Z in the index 0 and index 1. So now you have a new frequency array which is representing your transformed string, and this will be equal to the frequency. Just replace the original frequency array with this new frequency, so that when again the new transformation loop will run, then again you will create a new frequency array, and this time you will do the processing over this new array, the new frequency array. Now the thing is, in this approach it is good, but it is a bit complex to understand and a bit complex to implement as well. So now let me show you the most optimized approach, and this is going to be the best approach for this particular problem. Let us say the input S is A, B, C, Y, Y, and the value of t is 2. Now again you will do the same thing. You are going to count the frequency in the array of size 26. That is, each index in your array is going to represent a character A, B, C, Y, Z, P, S, R, whatever are the characters, okay? So let us say you create an array data, and this data is equal to 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, and then you have 2, and then you have 0. This one is at index 0, this one is at index 1, this one is at index 2. So index 0 means A, 1 means B, 2 means C. At index 24 you have 2, because this is representing Y, and you have total number of Y's as 2, right? So you are just creating the frequency of all the characters in your data array. Now you will just convert this data into a DQ. DQ means a doubly ended queue. And why we are doing this? Because in a doubly ended queue, the insertion and deletion process in both the ends are faster. That is, inserting in the start or deleting from the start, and inserting in the last and deleting in the last is easy. It can be done in O of 1 time complexity. So you just convert this data to a DQ, and then you will run a loop for t times. And then what you are going to do in the loop is, you are going to say data.pop. What this pop will do is, you will remove the last element in your array, which is actually representing the count of Z, right? The last element is at index 25. It is representing how many times you have Z in your current string, right? So let us say Z is equal to data.pop, which is going to remove the last element, which is the count of Z in your string. Now your array will look something like this. It will have 1, 1, 1 up to 2. This is index number 24, which is representing Y. For index number 25, which was representing Z, is gone, right? Now what you can do is, you can just append this Z, what you just popped, right? It is initially 0, right? So number of times you have Z is 0. This is your string. You don't have any number of Z, so it is 0. Now Z is 0, right? So what you are going to say is, you need to append this Z to the left. And how this is going to help you is, if you append a 0 in the left, this is your new array. All the elements in your array is shifted by one index, right? So you will see that this particular data is now here, and the indexes are shifted. At index number 0, you have 0. At index 1, you have 1. At index 2, you have 1. At index 3, you have 1. At index 24, you have 0. At index 25, you have 2. So this is representing A, it is representing B, it is representing C, it is representing D. This one is representing Y, and this is representing Z. Now you will see that if this is your string A, B, C, Y, Y, so let us write it A, B, C, Y, Y. So after one transformation, this is going to be B, C, D, C, C, right? Now observe the new array. You have B, you have C, and you have D one number of times, right? And you have Z two number of times, and you have Y zero number of times. So this process, how this is helping you is, you just remove the last element and make it first. And how this is helping you, it is automatically shifting the other elements by one index, and that is what you need to do, right? You are replacing each character with the next character. So this is automatically doing the same thing. But there is one more thing you need to do. You need to say data of 1. That is, data of 1 means number of times you have B. This will be increased by Z as well. And why we are doing this is because if we just do the shifting normally, then from A to Y, this will become B to Z, right? This is getting shifted by one index, and you are putting this value of Z in the start. So you are already saying that the number of times you have Z will be equal to number of times you have A. But the question says that you have to replace Z with A and B. So you are already putting the number of Z equal to number of A, right? But for B also you will have to increase the count. So the number of times you have Z will also be added in the count of B. So data at index 1 will be added, will be increased. So we need to add Z to the count of B. So data at 1 is going to be equal to data of 1 plus Z, right? But right now the value of Z is 0. So there will be no change to this particular string or this particular array. So this is going to be your array after one transformation. Let us do the second transformation, and a lot of things are going to be clear. So in the second transformation, again what you are going to do is, you are just going to pop out the last element. So now Z is equal to 2, and this is your array, right? What you will do is, you will put this 2 in the start, right? So what this array will look like, 2, then 0, 1, 1, 1, right? So 0, 1, 1, 1, and it got shifted. This 2 is representing the number of times we have A, because this is at index 0. 0 is representing the number of times we have B, because this is at index 1. And similarly, the count of each index is representing C, D, E to Y and Z, right? Now again what you need to do, you just need to say data or the count at index 1, that is for B, is going to be increased by number of times you have Z. So this will become 2, right? So now your final array will be 2, 2, 1, 1, 1 up to 0 and 0, which is for Y and Z. So now we have done the transformations 2 times, right? So the output is going to be the sum of this array, because you need to output the length of your data, right? The length of your final transformed string. So you just need to sum your array, and this is going to be the output, because these numbers are representing the count of each characters in your transformed string. So the output is going to be the sum of your array, which is 2 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 0, 0, 0. So the output is 7, and that's the correct answer for this particular problem. And even if you see the transformed string, this was your string after one transformation. If you do the transformation again, this will be C, D, E, A, B, A, B, right? So you have 2 times A, 2 times B, 1 times C, 1 time D, 1 time E. And that is what you are having here. 2A, 2B, 1C, 1D, and 1E, right? So this is your final string. So I think that's the complete explanation for this particular problem. Now let me take you back to the code editor, and let me show you how can you actually solve this, how can you code this using Python. So this is the complete solution for this particular problem, and it is very simple to understand. Well, one more thing which you need to know is, the question says that since the answer may be very large, you need to return it to modulo of 10 to the power 9 plus 7. So this is not going to change any of our logic. We are just creating a variable mod which is equal to 10 to the power 9 plus 7. Then create an initial data which is 0 for now, 26 times. It means the length of your data is 26. Then you just start counting each characters in your data and update your array. So you can say for ch in S is your string. You can say the data of odd ch minus 97 is plus equal to 1. Now if you don't know this logic, let me tell you that this odd ch means what is the ASCII value of your character, and 97 is the ASCII value of character A. So for A this will be 0, for B this will be 1, for C this will be 2, and so on, right? So you are saying data of odd of ch minus 97 plus equal to 1, this will do the counting, and then you are converting your data to a DQ. Now just run a loop for t times, and first of all pop out the last element from the right side, which is representing the number of times you have Z, and then you can say data dot append in the left side, that is append in the start the count of Z. This is going to update the value of A, and then you are going to say data of 1, that is the count of B in your array, is plus equal to Z. And that's it. This is the complete solution, and you can just return the sum of your data mod, right? And you can just submit this code, and you will see that this is actually very efficient solution for this particular problem, and even the solution looks very clean, right? It is not complex at all. So yes, you can see the runtime is good, the memory is good. So yes, we have solved this particular problem, and that's it for this video, guys. If you like the explanation of this particular problem and the solution approach as well, then make sure that you hit that like button, and if you have not subscribed to my channel as of now, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel as well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching this video, guys.